I'm Dr. Doug Weiss, and welcome. We are going to talk about step 5 today for intimacy anorexia. This is a very important step. So if you're an intimacy anorexic and you've been walking through these steps together, please stay tuned and watch this. It's going to encourage you. Now, if you've yet to subscribe, please do. It'll tell you when the next step is coming out or other very important videos. And if you have a question for me, please put it in the box and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So stay tuned. Step 5 for intimacy anorexia. This is such a big step. And in step 4, I really encourage you to get that done as soon as possible so you could do step 5. So what is step 5? Let's read it, let's walk through it, and I'll give you some practical guidance along the way. Admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Now, sometimes when people read step 5, they go, I just got to tell somebody. And they really miss the whole process of step 5. Step 5 is a process. 1, 2, 3. And when you get done with 3, you're done. So we want to admit to God. Now, what are we admitting? Step 4. Our good column, our bad column, our ugly column. Like, how do you do that? Well, I strongly encourage you to get like another chair, sit down on a sofa, face, kind of pretend that God's sitting there with you, or just go out in the forest somewhere or somewhere where you feel very private and alone, and just put God there and say, okay, God, I'm going to go through my step with you. Now, this is super important for you. I mean, God was there. He knows more than you know. Okay? But it's important that you have this relationship conversation. Now in step 1, 2, and 3, you became powerless. You got a higher power. You turn that into God. God's a person and he wants to be talked to. So you sit down person to person and you say, God, let me go through this with you. Here's the good things, some of the things you've blessed me with, some of my own accomplishments. And here's the bad stuff I did. Even though I knew it was wrong, I did it. I made mistakes. Here those are. And here's the things that, honestly, they happened to me. I didn't have anything to do with, sexual abuse or family of origin stuff or, legal issues or other ways that people have hurt me or lied about me. But these things have happened to me. And just sit down and talk to them. Some people are creative and they go back in the other chair and they talk as God back to themselves. That's fine. You can do that if you wish. But really just have a long conversation, because when you do this, you're going to find yourself expanding your step a little bit, a little more insight. And you're going to hear the patterns. And you're going to be able to identify things that are really going to be helpful for you moving forward in recovery. To ourselves. Not only admit it to God, but to ourselves. This is a separate part of the step. So what I want you to do is sit down, and you can have an empty chair if you want to. Be in a quiet, safe place. And go through it with yourself. Say, Doug, let's have this conversation. Here's the things that, you were great at, and this is wonderful. Good things have happened to you. Here's the things that you weren't, this was not the wonderful part of you. This is where you made bad choices. You knew what was wrong, did it anyway. Maybe you had some consequences, and here you just go through the bad with yourself. And then you go through the ugly. Hey, the sexual abuse, the family of origin, the abandonment, stuff that has happened to you that you had nothing to control of, but it hurts you. And so you go through that with yourself. And again, you're going to feel some sense of release, but also you're going to feel a sense of maybe feeling some feelings, but going through this process, you might expand it even further. Then the third part of this step, and by far the hardest, is and to another human being. Now, I would really qualify this as IA. I mean, this is a tough step as it is. You really want a safe person, hopefully someone in recovery, or maybe a religious leader, a pastor, or even a counselor, therapist who understands addiction, who understands what you're trying to get accomplished. I'll never forget when I did my step 5, and I knew another guy in recovery who was in the PhD program when I was in seminary. I made an appointment with him, went to his office, and I had us all written out. I had pages written out. I said, well, I'm here to do my step 5, and I just want to go over this with you. And he understood what I was doing, and I went through it. You know, he listened to me, and I was ready to write the check for the session because I didn't want anyone to know, anything that I was sharing. Make sure it was safe. He's like, you know what? I don't take money for steps 5s. That was just sacred, holy. Thank you so much. And I remember walking down the steps to his office, getting my little car, and just kind of felt okay. And then I hit the stop sign. And when I did, a flood literally went through my entire soul. It was like I was cleansed out. All that lie that if you really knew me, you wouldn't love me was broken instantaneously. It was so powerful. I had to pull over, and there was this field by a school. I just jumped around. I was so happy. I was so free, because that lie that said, if you really knew me, you wouldn't love me, that was broken. And it's been broken ever since. I know I can be flawed and loved. And I want you to experience the same thing, and you will, if you actually do step 5. And this is important for intimacy anorexia, because this is a place where you become human. Oftentimes you live in the object world, especially when it comes to your weaknesses. And you think if you're flawed, you're not loved. Or you think that because you haven't done step 5. Once you do step 5, you can realize you can be human, you can be flawed and loved at the same time. Then you don't have to be seen as perfect or even try. I don't even want to try to be perfect. I want to try to grow and mature, but I'm not going for perfect. That's already been done. And I'm so excited that as you take this journey, you can really do well. Now, there is the final words, the exact nature of our wrongs. So as IA, sometimes you like to sugarcoat things and make them look better. Especially in the column of the bad, make sure that you're totally honest about your deliberate choices. And even your deliberate choices to withhold love from your spouse. Even the deliberate cruelty that you've had towards your spouse should be in your step 5. And you want to be really clear on that stuff as you're doing it. But if you communicate the exact nature of your wrongs, you're not going to have any shame anymore. You're not going to be able to be put into some box that you're bad. And you're going to feel more human than ever before. So you deserve that, but you have to work for it. All of us in recovery, we worked for where we got. Step 5 is a work step. I really, really recommend that you do step 5 as soon or as close as possible as finishing step 4. Don't let step 4 sit inside of you for a month or more. That can really be hard for you. Get on this, make an appointment with God, put it in your calendar. Make an appointment with yourself, put it in your calendar, make an appointment with another human being. And once you got 1, 2, 3 done, you are done with step 5. And so if you have yet to subscribe, please do. Very helpful stuff we got coming down the road. We got more steps for you as well as other stuff. And also, if you have a question, please put it in the box there. Happy to respond to you as soon as possible. And really continue to walk through these steps with us together.